hybrid cloud, what's that all about at Ericsson these days? Well, with me to talk about that is the CMO at Ericsson, Arun Bhikshesvaran. And Arun, good to see you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us here in the Buzz Zone. Let's talk about you and the cloud and the car, how you're bringing together a lot of stakeholders and why you think it's so important to Ericsson's future.
Absolutely. So John, as you know, we have had this vision of the network society where we believe that anything that can use a connection will get a connection. And guess what? As more and more people have been connected with phones and with smartphones, the next thing that is mobile beyond people walking are cars. Cars are moving around all the time. So it provided a natural starting point for us to start looking at that industry. Because what we believe, John, is happening is that telecom, mobility, broadband, and the cloud are really transforming multiple industries. Education has been transformed, music has been transformed, as we all know. The automobile ecosystem was ripe for transformation. So we started our project about 3 years ago, and it's been a fantastic journey coming here so far.
I'm kind of curious though, when you look at cars, just in general, it's a fundamental, almost a bit of tension there between this rapid pace of development in your world, and then on the automobile manufacturer side, they look at a very different life cycle or work cycle. So how do you merge those interests to where the innovation can take place, this rapid transformation, and you work it into cars that have a much longer shelf life?
So I think that's the good piece of this, because what automobile manufacturers are looking for is a way to bring agility into their development process wherever they can. So they might not be able to do it with engines, they might not be able to do it with body frames, but they can do it on a software basis. So anything that can be controlled via software, they are super interested in that. And that's how we found that meeting point between the two industries, where we came in and said, listen, we can provide a platform for service enablement, and then you can rapidly deploy features on top of that. Like, okay, that makes sense. So we can marry that along with our development cycle, we can put in a platform, and then we can do multiple cycles within one generation. That's the way we got started with them.
Do you have a dream about what the connected car can do? I mean, is there something in your mind about saying that would be fantastic? If we could pull that off, take this data, take this location, put it all together and give the driver this kind of actionable information.
I'll tell you one thing that I found personally uplifting. There was a goal that was announced by Volvo 2 weeks ago, where Volvo said that by 2020, their goal is that no individual inside a Volvo car would die out of a fatality coming from the car. Their goal is to make that car as safe as possible so that there will be no fatality associated with a Volvo car. So security, safety becomes very important. You start translating that. It's about assisting the driver to make intelligent decisions when and where it is needed. It is also to take away the burden of driving when they don't want to do it. So for example, we are looking at, you asked me about a dream. So there is a dream scenario that in a highway, you can get locked in to a convoy that is moving at 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour, and you don't have to worry about it being unsafe, because the cars are all communicating with each other, and they all know exactly when to accelerate, when to brake, when to change lanes, etc., because they're all talking to each other. So suddenly, in a 400-mile journey, if I want to take a break and have a conversation and not be disturbed by the road, I can do that. I can get the best of both worlds. So to me, that takes it to, I like cars. I love to drive cars. But if there is a chance that I can take my mind off of that for a few minutes, that sounds interesting.
So last question on that then. It seems like, because I'm a slightly older guy, I've been driving a long time, my hands off the wheel, my eyes off the road, those are just foreign concepts. So is it about indoctrinating or adapting, modifying behavior in younger drivers, so as they get older and more mature, and that's where that market grows, and letting people like me say, okay, we're going to work on you, but it's those younger folks we need to work on.
So John, there are two answers to that. One is, yes, the younger generation, and the younger generation behaves very differently. Whether they want to be in a car, well, whether they want to be in a car itself is a question, right? They're more prone to public transport, so on and so forth. But if they're in a car, then that could be one thing. But I'll tell you something more interesting. I was talking to my personal trainer about, driverless cars and, self-guided cars, and he came up with this example which I thought was super insightful. He said, listen, if older people have Alzheimer's, dementia, etc., imagine if you could just put them in a car and they can continue to go to all the places that they've always been to. even if they don't remember the way. So in the early stages of Alzheimer's, for example, this starts to assist their lifestyle
Absolutely.
and become very, very useful. I thought that was pretty powerful because you think of younger generation all the time, but there is a value addition that you can do to a completely
For the
different
older
part of
generations,
society. So I think it's got many different applications. As the cars come, as the applications evolve, we will find numerous use cases.
Well, there are some fantastic opportunities out there, and I guarantee you that Ericsson is very much behind the wheel
Absolutely.
of those. And thanks for joining us here in the Buzz Zone. Always a pleasure
Very
to
good.
see you.
Thank you.
You bet.